Okay, hello everyone. Just reminding everyone to put your earphones on so you can hear me better. So my name is Elinor Honigstein, and today I'm going to talk to you about a topic that I really love and really close to my heart somehow, which is growing your reach organically with LinkedIn. Now, I'm not here selling anything from LinkedIn. Everything I talk about is actually at no cost. And really at the heart of it is about the need for us, whether we are employees or founders of companies, the need for us to build our own professional brand in order to grow the brand of our business and in order for us to attract clients, partners, whatever it is that we're looking for. And don't just take my word for it. There's been research that said that the more a CEO or a founder is known to its audience, the more people then trust the company. And also in kind of an equal way, I guess, the more employees are able to talk about the company and really advocate about their product and services on social media and obviously in conversations, the more that they're able then to carry forward the values of the company, the product messaging, and then obviously the company outperform. But this is not just research that made me really passionate about this topic, it's also my own journey. I've really learned that I had to have a very strong brand in order to succeed in my career. And success means different things to different people. But for me, initially, it was getting into the charity sector, where I worked for about 10 years, building partnerships and communities around missions that I really, really loved and was passionate about. And then, after almost 10 years, I decided to move into the tech industry. So you can imagine the rebranding that I had to do for myself, and a platform like LinkedIn really, really helped me. I moved to Zinc VC, which is a social impact incubator that builds startups for a kind of social mission, environmental missions. And then from there, I moved to the government, building connections and partnerships between global startups and the British market. So again, a very different industry required me to kind of rebrand and reposition myself. And then I landed my job at LinkedIn, a platform that has helped me a lot. The reason I started working there is really because I was very curious to understand how the product works from the inside and try and perhaps shape it as well in the way that I see is needed. I was also, as a side note, very active there on social impact in our women ERG. And today I do what I love most, which is giving those talks and those sessions and really sharing my knowledge with different founders and different social mission companies, and also supporting and advising companies. So I've worked with really known brands so far, but also less known, ones that are kind of starting and building their brand from scratch. So kind of before we start, I really want to ask kind of you and I guess the conversation, the audience, why? Why LinkedIn? Because it's something that we always hear about. It's a platform that's very well known, but I wanted to dig a bit deeper into the why. And obviously, LinkedIn is the largest B2B platform. I mean, no one can argue with that. But I guess also when it comes to the B2C side, we have 1 billion users, and they are in their prime buying years. And they also have the higher income from all the other social platforms. So I guess, Instagram and other platforms, which I love very much, you get different target audience there. So just kind of bear that in mind. The second reason is that people, when they go on the platform, they already have that mindset of selling and buying. And of course, this all needs to be done in the right way in order to be successful. And we're going to touch on that as well. And the last reason, which kind of surprised me and keep on surprising me, I guess, is although we have 1 billion members on LinkedIn, only 6% of them actually creating content. And think about it, it's really powerful because you have an opportunity here to stand out quite easily, because most of the members are actually sitting there, listening, consuming knowledge, observing, but not participating. So just something that I thought is interesting to know. Now today we'll cover the how to use LinkedIn in order to build your brand, in order to then build the company brand or achieve whatever you want to achieve within your business and professional life. And in order to do that, I like to imagine LinkedIn as a huge conference, as a huge trade show. Think about it. We are in one, so it's easy for you to picture that. So your profile is actually your booth, right? It makes the relevant visitors stop and look at you and understand what you're about. And then when it comes to your network, this is your guest list, the people that you are connected with, the people that are relevant to you, the people that you're building a meaningful connection with. And then you've got your content, and that's your stage. That's really your opportunity to engage in broader conversations and attract a broader and global audience and really position yourself as a thought leader. So that's your stage. So if that's the case, then we're going to discuss today about the profile very briefly. And here again, I kind of know, I'm sure, who here does not have a LinkedIn profile? Yeah, I assume so. So pretty sure you all have a LinkedIn profile. But the thing is that a lot of us need reminding of profile photo and things that seem basic, but it's good to remind you. And then network. You're building a network, and here I'm going to talk about transitioning from connections to relationships. How do we build that, and what do we need to really think about? And my favorite topic is posting meaningful content. And the reason it's my favorite topic is because it's not easy for me to share content. It hasn't been easy for me to share content, but I managed to build that muscle gradually. So I'm not talking here from a position of a top influencer. I'm actually talking very much at everyone's level, which is just be committed, be consistent, and there are some kind of formats that I can share that hopefully will give you an idea of what it is to share meaningful content that personally has helped me dramatically in my career. So let's start with your booth, with your profile. So when we write our profile, and a lot of us have had LinkedIn profiles for many, many years, and to be fair, LinkedIn started more as a job board, right? So our profiles sometimes are very much targeted for a recruiter, right? So we need to remember that our profile needs to place our buyer at the heart of it, which then goes to all the information that we have there, to the headline, which is one of the first things that people see when they search someone in your industry. It needs to reflect who you are, who you're serving, what you can do for them. Use keywords from your industry, because then prospects can find you easily, and add a link to your website. Profile photo needs to be, you need to see your face, because just imagine here we are walking around, right? You're not going to put kind of a mask on your face or speak to people like that. Think about it as a conversation, hopefully kind of smiley as well. And don't forget to open it as a public, because even if someone is not your connection, they want still to see your face. And then cover photo, and that's my favorite real estate on LinkedIn, because here you have no rules. You can play with it to convey the message of your company, what you stand for, your values, quite easily. It does not have to be a logo like Anna Marie did here. It could be anything from maybe books that you're reading that are relevant to your industry, or perhaps an event that you organize, something to show what you're about. And then the About section, and this is really, really key, and I actually really like Anna Marie About section here, because it comes from the perspective of the buyer. It sees everything through the eyes of the customer. Anna Marie is in the event industry, so she organizes events for people. And then she writes, do you struggle to come up with creative concepts for your events? Are you short of time and resource? So she's really talking to her customer in the About section. So it's all about how you can help other people, about why you do what you do. And of course, a little bit of personality there and a little bit of color in your About section. Because as I said before, people buy from people. They want to connect to who you are, not just to what you do. Featured section, that's a section that kind of speaks to the fact that people like to see visuals when they go on profiles or where generally on social media, so you can pin all the important articles, links, whatever it is that you want to showcase. You can pin it and it will be very, very visible on your profile. Now your guest list. Your guest list, as I said, these are your connections that you want to turn them into relationships. Now here I'm not talking about kind of spray and pray and all the really large scale marketing. I'm talking about very targeted marketing. And actually this is inspired by a conversation that a VP in a large company told me, and how they expand into new regions. He said that they map the companies that they know can be really valuable customers. They follow those companies on LinkedIn. They then follow the people and connect to the relevant people, decision makers, and they engage with their content before they approach them. They warm them up. And that's also goes back to our very basics of human nature. If I come to you and I say to you, hey, I've got this product, do you want to sell, do you want to buy it, or whatever it is, it sounds, I need to first know you a little bit, and I need to trust you, to build that trust. And so first of all, we need to identify the right connections, then follow and like and share and engage with their content very consistently before we approach them. Direct message is the most viral action that you can take on LinkedIn, because they say that over 80%, the people are over 80% more likely to see your posts if you direct message them before. And messages that will get you somewhere are messages that are short and don't overload the person with information. And it took me time to understand that, because sometimes when I write a message, I almost write it for me, to know that I unloaded all the information, and that person will hopefully reply. But see it from the perspective of the other person. He doesn't know you very well. You need to kind of engage them. So the most important thing is a hook, and it needs to be short and precise and to the point. And that's what hopefully we'll get a response. And then once we've built those connections and we have a really nice connection pool, it's really time up to think about it as a relationship. And how do we build relationships also in real life? It's really about likability. People tend to like people that have something in common with them. So when we approach people, when we build relationships with people, it's really about highlighting what do we have in common. And I like to go by the 4 Ps. It's either a place that we live in a certain place, or perhaps we studied in a similar university, a passion that we share. And today from LinkedIn profiles, we can learn a lot about people's passion as well. Present times, things that are happening, trends in the industry, anything that's happening now that can be relevant to both of you, and obviously a place where you live, and people that you have in common. And then reciprocity. And this is something that we also need to remind ourselves. We cannot really approach someone and build a relationship with someone if we always ask. It just doesn't work like that. We need to give first. And by giving, I mean sharing any information that's relevant, or perhaps showing the person that you've read some of their articles or posts and giving them some kind of feedback, or telling them why it was interesting to you, connecting them to other people. That's super easy to do on a platform like LinkedIn. And one of the things that I find that really works for me, and again, that comes from a very authentic place, is when I ask someone for advice. When I actually need their advice and I say the word advice, that's something that really, really, people like to give advice. And it also doesn't feel too like I'm asking something too big. And curiosity. And I recently heard a lecture about building trust. And actually, curiosity is one of the elements of building trust. When you are curious about the other person, it shows them that they can trust you. It's not just transactional. So show some interest beyond the job title. And then building your own voice on LinkedIn, really the content, the stage. And here, before I dive into the how, I want to just acknowledge something that a lot of people say to me in workshops that I deliver. say to me, posting is so braggy. I have cringe when I need to post about a success that I've had or a partner that I closed or whatever it might be. And also they say to me, who am I to write, about this? Or I don't know anything about anything interesting to say. It's people just have those doubts about themselves. And I want to say a few things about this. When it comes to bragging, I've been educated to be humble and modest. That's, also what I teach my kids. But the problem is when you grow up and the world starts asking you, what have you done? What have you achieved? Why should we hire you? Why should we buy from you? That's when you really need to reconcile that value of humility with the need to talk about yourself confidently and effectively. And so what I'm saying here, that there is no contradictory. You can talk about your achievements and successes and awards or whatever it might be in a confident way without it being bragging. All you do is really educating the people on, what you deliver, why does it matter. And then when it comes to, who am I to write about it, we don't need to wait for an expertise level to post content on LinkedIn, really. It's all about little milestones. It's all about ideas that we have. It's all about tapping into the collective knowledge and actually asking questions from people. And if you still struggle with that mindset, think about it from the perspective of someone who is perhaps behind you in their journey or facing similar challenges like you, and see your posts and content as a way to inspire other people and help them in their journey. And I can't stress enough how many times when I posted some content, for example, about me transitioning from the charity sector into the tech sector, that people then approached me and say, do you mind just having a 20 minutes conversation on how the journey was for you? So you're actually inspiring other people and helping them in their journey. So once we establish that, let's touch on some guiding principles that I follow. But again, this really is open for conversation. First of all, and this is actually from working at LinkedIn and really knowing what matters to the people who are building this platform. It's all about adding value to the other side. We really need to shift our mindset from the quantity of the likes that we have to the quality of the conversation and who we are targeting. So before I post, I really think about what value is my network gonna get from that post, and who do I want to see that post. And I can share many examples of posts that I've posted that maybe attracted a couple of dozen people, but there was one person that was relevant to me, and for me that made a difference. For me that made kind of a difference in my career as well, because that person could be a customer or a partner or even an employee within the company that then gave me my next opportunity. And then it's about starting a conversation. It does not have to be you just speaking at people. You can start with a question, you can ask for their views, and obviously engage with comments. If someone just comments on your post, try and reply as soon as you can, because that's kind of important. They say don't post and ghost. And look at it from building a community around you. So for example, when people commenting on my posts, one of the things, if the comment really resonated, I can then tag someone else and connect the two people. So see yourself as the brand and the community around you, and how you can add value in this way and engage people in this way. And consistency. One of the questions I get tons is, how often should I post on LinkedIn? And I actually went to the team, we have an editorial team at LinkedIn, and I asked, and the answer I got is, we don't like to talk like that, because there's no rules really about certain days, certain times, frequency. Obviously, the more you do it, the more the platform will recognize you and perhaps reward you in a certain way. But the point is really commit to what you can commit to and just do it consistently. And then you show up in a way that's right for you. There's no point of me saying post every day, because if you can't, don't do that. It's better to really commit and go with what's right for you. And then, people say, okay, I feel comfortable posting. I kind of know the principles now, but what do I talk about? So here I'm bringing 3 buckets of kind of content that help me when I put together or when I think about what to post next. And I think ideally, if you can mix those up, so one time one content, the other time another content, that's really good. And you'll understand a little bit better when you see all 3. So the first one is the visionary. This is the thought leadership. This is the industry insights. This is you positioning yourself as someone who knows what they're talking about. And this can be everything that you read in articles. It could be events, insights. For example, today, I'm sure you learned tons. You can really share even a few posts about what you've learned today. And again, remember, this is from an adding value perspective and also from a position of thought leadership and how people can build that trust with you as someone that they can buy from or hire their services. Then there is evangelist. An evangelist really goes to someone who is kind of rallying people around their company or perhaps a mission that's important to them. So this is something that is a little bit more goes to company news or even fundraising, something that you are fundraising about. It could be doing good and doing well. So everything that's really related to you personally in the company that you work or values that are important to you and how you're going to rally people around those. And then the mentor. And this is the bucket that LinkedIn likes the most. So this is you as professionals, and this speaks to your journey. This speaks to your journey of how you got to where you got, how you became a leader, how you act as a team member, what books have you read that have helped you, what events did you go that have helped you, what communities you're a part of, everything that can really serve another person in their career journey. Because if you go back to the LinkedIn mission, which is all about creating opportunities for the world workforce, then you're doing that. You're helping someone else. And that's something that is really, really valued by the network and by the platform. So if we think about 3 elements of building trust, then the visionary, I guess, builds credibility. Then the mentor is showing your passion. And then the evangelist is about empathy, seeing, the community and really building, rallying people around what you care about. I wanted to give some examples because I always like to make my talks very practical. So the visionary here is a founder of an EV solution, and he writes about China's dominance in EV battery production. Very straightforward. What I like about visionary pieces and what a lot of people miss is the I. You always need to bring yourself into the insights, not just dry insights, but also what's your view about them and why you think it's important. Then there is the evangelist, and here you've got someone from Swoogo, which is an event company, and they're talking about the partnerships that they just closed. Ideally, I would see here a little bit more about how they've closed it and what it means, but you get the gist of it. It's rallying people around the company. And then you've got mentor. And mentor here is Tzachi, and he says a sentence that I can really, really relate to. A person who never made a mistake, never tried anything new. So he's sharing from his perspective his work with startups and why it's okay to take risks, because that kind of gets us to the next stage of our career. I brought another example, intellectual property. So basically, if you are in a position to kind of summarize what is really going on in the industry and maybe highlight some top companies or top solutions or top trends or whatever, putting it in an infographic or some kind of a design that really speaks to people and people appreciate when they see that the person who is posting content actually made an effort and researched. Promote other people. That's something that also works very, very well. And again, it needs to come from a place of genuine, like you really, really like that person, and then promote them, because then you're really gathering their network that's, hopefully relevant to you. And then collaborate on content, on articles. Make sure that it does not have to be just you with your laptop. It could be you and another person collaborating on a piece of content. All right, so in terms of the actual post, as I said, it needs to be easily consumed. I see that I have 5 more minutes and I have a bit more to cover, so I'll just whiz through this and then I'll stay for questions afterwards. So people remember the first and the last sentences, really. It's just the way it is. So make sure that your first sentence really is strong, is powerful one. And today, ChatGPT can help with that. And then, as I said before, your post needs to have a perspective, your perspective. It cannot be just, here is a summary of what I've learned. It's basically why I care about this and why I think it's important. Bring yourself. And here I also want to talk about ChatGPT just for 1 second, because ChatGPT is a really great tool. Everybody's using it by now. However, don't write, that's my suggestion, don't write your post with ChatGPT. If you really want to stand out, write it from a human perspective, even if it has mistakes. By all means, let ChatGPT give you the start, edit the grammar, whatever it might be, but make sure that it has a human sound to the posts. Because I personally can recognize posts that I've written by ChatGPT from miles away. Not to say it's really bad, but it just feels very generic by now. And speak to a distinct audience. Now, just an example of a post that I've written, again, going back to the quantity versus quality. This is not a post that went viral at all. It's just a post that engaged a conversation. That's really interesting because, as you know, I'm delivering workshops in professional branding. And so for me, positioning myself as one is important. So a friend of mine called me and she said, I'm a marketeer, but I'm also training as acupuncturist. So how can I be two things on LinkedIn? So obviously I don't have all the answers, but I gave her a few suggestions. But the point is that I put it out to the network. And I started with a kind of a powerful sentence, I would say. Have you faced this challenge before? A friend contacted me about this advice. And obviously it makes people curious. And so I followed a few of my own rules. The first sentence, easily consumed. Then bullet points, which is very easy to digest. My own perspective, what I would do. Call to action, so I opened it to a discussion. And I got really, really great engagement. And actually, the friend phoned me and she said, wow, that's, reading the suggestions of other people has really also helped me. And that's for me a meaningful post. So more ways to build collaborative articles. Who here knows collaborative articles? Oh, not that many. Okay, so LinkedIn basically started collaborative articles. These are basically articles that you can respond to a question that is asked, and this is a great way to position yourself as a thought leader without needing to reinvent content. And it also, you can, if you do it consistently, you can get like a top voice on the topic that you're consistently replying. And they also appear on Google. So if someone is looking for the same kind of questions on Google, then that question is being pulled from LinkedIn, so you get more visibility this way. Videos and visuals, I think it really goes without saying. We know that we are a community of people who love seeing people speak and talk and move, and also research has shown that. So, use actionable language, watch this video, learn more about, and I think I see more and more of these, and they work quite well. And make sure that your page is complete. Just make sure that you have the logo and the follow button. These are things that might seem obvious, but I think it's always good to have a reminder. And the last thing I will end with is newsletters. They're just a little bit of work. And how social are you? How social are you? Who here knows the social selling index? Okay, great. So basically, it's part of a product that actually costs money at LinkedIn, but this specific feature is for free. So if you go to that link here, you can see how you are rated on the platform, which is quite fun to see. Over 70 is like a leader in your industry in terms of how you connect on the platform and how you engage on the platform, and they have certain kind of ways to rate us. And I guess between 30 and 70 is average, which is absolutely fine. Majority of people are that. Anything is fine, by the way. It's just a way to kind of gamify it a little bit for us, and it changes weekly. And just really to add that in a crowded digital environment, it's essential to make our brand and content stand out, but we're very lucky that each one of us have a very, very unique and powerful story to tell. So use that story and make sure that you communicate it. So that's it for me. Any questions? I've got probably a couple of minutes, and then I'm happy to take on one-on-one. Yes, and I think we need a microphone for that.
Hey, great talk. Thanks so much for all the advice. I've been doing a little bit of posting myself, but I've noticed that video is now such a massive part of it.
Yeah.
In fact, I've just seen on the LinkedIn app that it's part of like the bottom bit,
Yes.
Alongside network and things like that. How important do you think that is, and is that something that everyone should be doing, or is that a bonus feature compared to the other stuff that you mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have kind of the data around how much posts get relevant engagement as opposed to written content. I really think it's down to the value of the content that you're producing. But I think on a very kind of human interaction level, it's nice to see someone's face and someone moving. However, I would say that me as a consumer of content, when I see someone talking, I cannot always listen to them because maybe I'm on the tube, or maybe I'm in a meeting or whatever. So sometimes you kind of miss as well. So there's no kind of right or wrong. I think it's always good to mix up your content and just use different formats. Anyone else? Yes. The last question, okay.
Hi, thanks very much. Two things. Do you think that LinkedIn Premium is actually worth the people in this room paying for? That's the first question. And the second one is, I've heard that when you edit your own post, that it actually
Lower the
decreases the
engagement,
chances of engagement. Is that true?
Yeah. Well, from starting with this question, I don't have a way of proving that. I also heard that. I didn't do A/B testing for my own post to know, but I also heard that. So the only thing I'd say, just make sure that when you post, it's kind of ready to go without the need to edit it. But it's fine. It's like it's not going to make a massive, massive difference, I don't think. I've edited many of my posts and they were fine. In terms of premium, it's not for me to say yes or no. I think it very much depends. I think people who are looking for jobs, I think that's very good tool because it shows you more data about the job and where you're positioned. And I think it also has more direct messaging that you can send without being connected to people, which is also valuable to also those who don't. So it's really looking at what premium offers that is relevant to you in your case, and seeing the benefit. I know it's expensive, so make sure you make the right decision for you. All right, so I am happy to take any questions because we came to an end. Thank you so much for being such a great audience. Thank you.